What's up, guys? Little change of scenery. Not that it's the best, but whatever. This is my brother's room. I came in here right now just because if I film in my room, I probably make too much noise because my mom's asleep. So, yeah. I wanted to talk about something that I'm pretty surprised I didn't know about. I just found out about it today. On Twitter, actually. I'm gonna try this thing. It's an iced mocha. I should have shook it. I didn't shake it. Damn it. It's pretty good. It's cold though. It's so cold right now. I think it's like in the 40s. Like in the mid 40s right now. It's really, really cold out there. But the reason why I'm making this video is because I found out on Twitter, I forgot who tweeted it, but somebody tweeted this link, and it was called the BAFTA Annual Video Games Lecture in London. And I was like, what's this? And I check it, and the guests, the people that are giving the lecture this year, or the people that gave the lecture this year, were Bioware's co-founders. You've probably seen them before. They come out a lot when they're talking about Bioware and where Bioware is going in the future and all that. Their names are Doctors Greg Zeshuk and Ray Muzica. They almost always come out together. And when I've seen them in a lot of interviews before, and when I saw this, I was like, "You're kidding me, right?" So I watched it, and it's very, very good. By the way, you definitely got. If you guys love Bioware, if you're Bioware horror like I am, definitely go watch it. It's about an hour, and the topic of the lecture was, are video games art? Can video games be considered art? And I've found this topic very interesting. I don't know why. I've always, it's a huge debate, and I don't like debates. I don't like to argue. So I just stay away from it. But the whole issue of whether video games are an art form is a debate. I don't know why it's a debate. It really shouldn't be. But there's people just think differently, and by all means, people have the right to their own opinion. But I found this really interesting, the way that they explained it, and then coming from BioWare's point of view, with the way that they do their games and all that, what their goals are, especially being part of EA, Electronic Arts, they really wanted to talk about their idea of what art is and how they strive to actually have their games be an art form. I'll put the link to the website and to the lecture in the description. I highly recommend you go see it. Like I said, it's only an hour long. It's very, very good. Or at least I thought it was really good. The first 25 minutes is a lecture that they both give, and the next 30 minutes is a Q&A. BAFTA stands for British Academy of Film and Television Arts. And they do this annually, and they actually have a bunch of video game stuff on the website, which I found really, really cool. So I'm going to be looking at their stuff later, and I'll talk about what I see if there's anything interesting. But they basically talked about, in the lecture, they talk about accidental artists. And they mentioned Mozart, they mentioned Charlie Chaplin, Picasso, and they pretty much say that during the time of these artists, nobody considered them artists because of how weird their work was. Mozart was considered almost to be crazy. Charlie Chaplin, his work was just so weird, so different, that people appreciate him more now than back then. Same with Picasso. People thought he was insane back then. The form of art that they would create was just unconventional and weird, and they weren't considered artists. They weren't taken seriously. The type of art form that they actually created, say Picasso, now it's Now there's a type of art form that fits his style of art perfectly, abstract art. So that's why they call them accidental artists. And they said that a lot of people criticized them, and now, looking back, they said, I guess it's not that bad to be criticized by the mainstream, because look what happened with Mozart and Picasso and all them. They weren't considered art until now, or until years afterward. They go over the definition of art, or at least according to this guy named Tolstoy. What he said, he wrote a book called What is Art, I believe. He has a quote which basically defines art, and he says that it's to evoke in oneself a feeling one has once experienced, and having evoked it in oneself, then, by means of movements, lines, colors, sounds, or forms expressed in words, so to transmit that feeling that others may experience the same feeling. This is the activity of art. They pretty much apply that to video games. They say that's exactly what video games do, or at least a lot of video games, and definitely Bioware games. They said that they actually incorporate this in their, like this is a goal of theirs, to evoke emotion out of the player. And you will see in almost pretty much all of Bioware's games, at least this company, because you know there's different segments of Bioware that do different types of games, but Bioware, the ones that did their core games like Mass Effect, Dragon Age, Knights of the Old Republic, Jade Empire, and they even mentioned back to Baldur's Gate. They say that that's when even then they were trying to incorporate that whole non-linear narrative that they're so good at. You pretty much don't know where the story is going to lead you. It depends on you, on your decisions. And they say that according to Tolstoy, they're pretty much what art is to evoke a feeling. And they say that this is primarily what video games do, but they take it to the next level, because they talk about the viewer, the person that views art, is usually just an observer. They just sit there and art pretty much comes to them. Like they sit there and look at a painting, or they sit there and listen to a song that was written, and that's it. That's the song they heard, and that's it. And they say that video games takes that to the next level, because you're not just observing, you're participating in it. You're experiencing a new world, a world that could probably only exist in your dreams. It's a way of triggering your imagination that no other art form does. Not even movies, not even theater, none of it. So they were talking about some television series. I don't know what television series. They said one of them said that some television shows have tried to tap into the audience and have the audience vote what they want to happen to a certain character, so that there's like some kind of choice there and involving the audience. And they got this from video games, but it doesn't work as well, because there's still a sense of disconnection. And with video games, there might be the sense of disconnection between you and the television, but you're pretty much that character. You are controlling that character because you've got the controller and you're the one making the decisions. And in my opinion, the way that video games, and I guess I could also mention that somebody asked me for as a request for my subscriber Christmas list. Someone asked me to talk about how video games, and I'm paraphrasing here because I don't remember exactly what they said, but it was something like, how do video games affect us in a good way? Like how could they affect us in our own lives, like in work, in school, in life? And I guess I'm going to tie that into this video, is that I think video games really inspire people. And a lot of people, at least people that, I think it's people ignorant people that don't know about video games, that hold a certain stereotype for video gamers, or and video games really do have a stigma, a negative stigma to people that don't know about them. Just because people are ignorant about about video games and don't know about them and don't know how much they've evolved and how much they give the gamer. Some people even take it to the extreme of saying they think it's real. I mean, no gamer, unless something's really wrong with you, like something mentally is wrong with you, no gamer thinks it's real. We all know it's not real. And a lot of people criticize gamers for saying, oh, they don't have a life. They're just, their life is video games, or they're living in that video game, and they think that that's real and not reality. They prefer to live in there. That's, I mean, at least in my case, that's not true. It's not that we don't have lives. Video games are a way of, it's a type of entertainment. It's a way of expressing yourself. It's a hobby. It's something that really sparks, like they were saying, emotion. And it does it in such a way that you just can't compare it to any other type of art form. And I do consider myself someone that appreciates art in all its forms. I appreciate movies. I appreciate theater. I've actually acted. I've never told you guys that. I have been in theater, so I appreciate it. I know what goes into it. Music is like, that's my soul. Music. I appreciate that. I draw. Dancing, I don't dance, but I appreciate it greatly. I know the different types of mediums, and none of them really offer what video games offer. Not saying that video games is a better type of art form. No way. I'm not saying that at all. But what I am saying is that it's kind of sad that people don't accept or criticize gamers in such an undeserving way, and they really don't know what they're missing out on. They really don't know. It really is sad to me that people don't really know how much a video game could actually tap inside you and make you see things that you didn't see before, or make you question the things that you believe in, or the way that you choose, or the way that you make decisions. It really, and I'm not talking about all video games, because not all of them do that. Not all of them are meant to do that. But the ones that are, like RPGs, or like especially Bioware games, to me they're art forms, because they have sparked so many emotions inside me that I just find it absolutely amazing that a game could do that. I've actually grown to love characters from these video games. And that's what they were talking about also, is the way that you form, after hours of playing, you form these relationships with these virtual characters. And it's crazy to think about that. I had never thought of them as virtual characters, like almost like virtual intelligence almost. But not so much to that point, because they're scripted. They're not like, VIs. But still, it's like you grow to love these characters so much, like you really could believe that they could be real. In your imagination, they're inspiring in my point of view. Video games are very inspiring, and that's exactly what art does. They also asked the question, can a computer make you cry? And I loved that question. I was like, that's perfect. And I answered it. I was like, of course. I've said it many times, and I'll keep saying it. Dragon Age made me cry like a little baby. Dragon Age Origins, I cried like a baby at the end. And it was a mixture of so many emotions that I couldn't believe I was feeling this. It was so unintentional that I was blown away by these feelings. I was like, what? I had never felt anything like that, and I still haven't felt anything like that from a video game to this day. It was just a mixture of things, and I talked about this to Inon Zur, the composer of Dragon Age, and a lot of great games, Fallout 3 as well, Dragon Age 1, Dragon Age Origins, Dragon Age 2. Crisis. I mean, this guy's a freaking genius when it comes to his soundtracks for video games. I went to this little gathering, and I have a video of it if you're interested. I talked to Inon Zor, and I told him about this experience. I told him about the experience that I had at the end of Dragon Age Origins, that when I ended the game, I was kind of pissed that I didn't get the ending that I wanted. I was like, damn it, I didn't want this to happen. And the ending was going, it was going, and I was just like, damn it. And there's something to Dragon Age Origins where at the end, it just shows pictures, and it has little text, and it tells you what the characters went off to do afterwards. And I just started reading them, and I started to forget about how mad I was. And I was just like, oh, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. But then once the actual credits hit, the song, I Am the One, I think it's called, the song, the end credits of Dragon Age Origins starts playing. And I was like, everything just came down to that moment. And that music tied to the emotion that I had been feeling at the end of Dragon Age. It just all came down, and I started crying. It was amazing. I was like, oh my god. And I never changed that save. I was like, that was perfect. It ended perfect. I couldn't have asked for anything else. He was amazed. He was I mean, that's the biggest. He said that was like one of the biggest types of compliments that somebody could give a composer regarding their work. So yeah, computers do, or at least they have, made me cry.